All right, guys, so it's several days later here. I set it to the side for a bit until I had tried to reach out to the customer numerous times and hadn't gone anywhere, and I didn't know how much work he wanted me to put into this bow. So I was wrong about the wood species, which now that he told me, it makes perfect sense. But just the way it aged and the color of it, I thought it was American elm. It is not American elm. It is Pacific yew, which totally makes sense when I'm looking at it now. So when I talked to my customer, I asked him if it had sentimental value, because that's always a big topic of interest to me when I'm dealing with these old bows. You know, just to see how much money the customer wants to put into it. And he said that one of the fellows at the club gave it to him, and he really didn't say that it was particularly sentimental to him, but he said on the West Coast, the Pacific yew self-bows mean a lot to the guys that are into traditional archery, and they're really sort of a source of pride on owning one of these Pacific yew self-bows. And so it does mean something to him, even though it wasn't his dad's or his grandfather's or something like that. Whenever I did some sanding on it, I uncovered a crack here. And I was investigating my customer to see if he wanted to continue and fix it up no matter what I found. He said yeah, but I did find a crack coming right off of here. Now whenever I was overlaying this finger joint, I seen a crack about that long. I wonder if I missed this crack or it developed later. In some respects it looks old, so it could be old. But okay, so what I'm gonna do, it's really heavy. It's a really heavy bow. We strung it, we shot it. Actually shoots quite well, I couldn't believe it. And it's a really heavy bow, so I'm just gonna tackle it from every angle and try to reduce this thing and save this bow. That's about perfect on evenness, so we're just going to kind of work at it from all angles. So what I'm going to do now, the main thing is I just have to be so precise on how even I go. So we're going to put some 80 grit on this bad boy, which is going to be wildly aggressive on this big drum. Ooh, this is a little bit scary. Well, first what I'm going to do, caliper here, and I'm just going to get my center line, then I'm going to measure. I don't have a tillering grid, which would be really nice in this situation, but I've never made one because I'm not a self-bowyer. But I'm going to do some measuring here. So at 8 inches, this thing is tuned really well for how old it is. It's out of tiller quite a ways, but you know, I would have expected even worse. As far as straightness, it's very, very straight, and the limbs pull evenly. So I want to measure here. I want to see if they're even on their taper. So there we got 520 thousandths, so about 9/16. And then about this far below. Okay, so about exactly 200 thousandths, close to a 1/4 inch of taper. I'm just gonna use even pressure and try to do the exact same amount on both sides. Maybe a little bit more on this one because it is out of tiller. strokes. Thing. I'm going to do 2 more on this one. Now we're going to do something a little different. We're going to come on here. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. 6, 7. Where we're at now. 479 thousandths. 469 thousandths. Now we're within 10 thousandths. Let us see how even we are out toward the middle. So at 14 inches is right there. 411 thousandths. I know this is not the way to tune and tiller a self-bow. I'm aware of that, but I don't have a tillering grid, so this is how I do it. Pretty uniform. It's about 10 thousandths difference. I'm gonna just remove a little more off of here to make it bend even. I'm gonna take it over to the vise and I'm gonna smooth these edges all up so that when I flex it, it doesn't have any sharp edge to lift up and pull away and maybe delaminate. It's gonna be really sketchy because I hate for this thing to fail after all the work I put into it. What I'm gonna do here is kind of take off round this thing all over so it has the best chance ever of flexing evenly. And I'm not counting these strokes because I did it fairly even before. Then also what we're gonna do is we're gonna just identify that crack again. I can't see it at all now. I think the dust is obscuring it, but I gotta watch that thing like a hawk. One thing I was hoping just a little bit is maybe when we sanded it, that crack was just on the surface and came out. Believe it or not, it actually looks like that may be the case. I see a teeny crack there, but that long crack is gone. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna clean this up, the finer grit, and see if I can see that crack better. Even doing this, I gotta be and that guy's loud. Okay, so that really defined that crack for me. But doing this, I gotta be real careful so I can see it now. It's smaller, but it's about that big. Let's look at this side. Well, my question is, will that close up if I put a little bit of pressure on it? This is not the smartest thing to do, but I'm just gonna test it. I'm not gonna put much pressure on it. I'm just gonna see if I get any movement whatsoever in that crack. No, that's moderate pressure. I don't want to go any more because I could blow that glass off. So no movement whatsoever. All right, we're just gonna stabilize that thing for now. We're gonna fix it with glass cloth. I just want to get it to where I know I can have this at a shootable weight. Okay. So now that I have it like that, we're gonna sand slurry into it. Oh, it's soaking in good. I'm gonna add a little bit more. Now you can see that crack really well right there. That thing really worries me. I know it's stabilized underneath there because there's two pieces of glass that are glued down tight on top of it, but that don't mean a whole lot. I've seen bows fail that had a lot better structure than this. Okay, it flexes nice. All right, I'm terrified to string this thing, but it's got to be done. I know this is a 62-inch bow, but I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to put a 64-inch string on it. The least amount of stress we can put on it, twist it up just a bit. And then we're going to just flex it and watch that crack. Man, that thing is bending evenly, but it's bending so even, the crack is not opening. Please don't break. Check the straightness. Perfectly straight on that limb. Perfectly straight. I've got to test it. I got to flex it, because if it's not strong enough right now to handle being pulled, it will not last no matter what kind of repair we do it on something like that. Okay, so we've taken a lot of weight off of it. It was drawn 60 pounds. It was drawn 60 pounds at 22 inches before. So I'll show you what it is at 22 now. 47 pounds. So we've taken 13 pounds off of it. That's incredible. Crack is not opening up. Man, I really want to take more weight off of it. That's 24. Yeah, we got to take more weight off of it. At 24, it's still 55. That's not going to work. The good news is, I think the more we take off of it, I think that crack is isolated up into the handle. It doesn't, the crack is going away the more weight we take off of it. I somehow hit tiller dead on. I even have this marked pop from before. Somehow, I tillered this thing without even knowing it. Right as it sits now, it's shootable, tuned and tillered. But it's just too heavy. We just can't do it. It's too heavy. I think we're gonna reduce the width one more time and then take more off the belly. All right, I've reduced it again. This is about gonna have to be the last time I reduce it, because yeah, I don't want to go any more than this. Hopefully we don't have a problem here. So first of all, I want to check how it's bending. It looks pretty good. It's nice and straight. I'm watching that crack. Problem is, if it fails, it's probably going to go all at once. So there's 22 right there, 41 pounds. We took another 6 pounds off of it. Please don't break. Ah, it's still too heavy. I don't like how heavy it is. All right, there's 28. It's 58 pounds at 28. Man. Huh? I really don't want to thin the glass because that's where all my strength is coming from to keeping this bow together. I mean, if I took it off the glass, I could have it down 5 pounds in a couple strokes. I don't know how heavy this bow was when it started out. Man alive. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. This limb already, it's thinner, but it's stronger. So I wonder why that is. Do I have a different width? I doubt it. Come on. Let's go down to 20 inches. Dead on 1.5 inches. Okay. No, that don't make sense either. This limb is thicker and wider, and it's weaker than this limb. That is so weird. Okay, I'll take a little bit more glass off of it. So we're 56 pounds. I would almost be okay with that. So we don't compromise it. I mean, this thing had to be, I would say this thing would have been about 75 pounds when I started, maybe heavier. I bet it was between 75 and 80 pounds. But I am going to break it if I keep taking wood off. I just can't. I'm gonna have to get the tiller set and call it good, because you can't take a, you can't, well, I could, I don't know. I probably could take some more off of it, actually. I probably could. Okay, I will. Oh, that feels good. Look at this, look at this. 34 pounds at 22 now. Okay, now this is what I'm talking about. 51 pounds. We're here, guys, we're here. All we gotta do is get the tiller right on this thing, and we are done. Oh man, okay, all right. We're there, we're tillered. We're tillered. Well, she's tuned and tillered, but we're far from done on this bow. Because I've got that crack there, we're just not gonna risk it. We're gonna put some glass over that. Okay, so what I've done is to clean this all up, made it all beautiful. And there's that crack, and I went ahead and I've already filled it with glue, but I've put a lot of work into this bow, and I don't want this one crack to be the reason that it fails. And so we're gonna take a piece of glass cloth and we're gonna just cover that crack and blend it in. I used to build boats. I did this all the time with boats, with the boats that I built. So I've done a lot of it. We'll see how it works on this bow. We're just gonna put it on there and soak it in. For this Ironically enough, I'm using the Total Boat epoxy, but it's because it's so thin and viscous, but also because it's very, very strong. It's a lot stronger than smooth on, and because this area isn't flexing a whole lot in the bow, we can get by with it, and it'll adhere really good. So I've mixed some of this up. I don't want to make a huge mess here, but I definitely want to get it saturated enough. Maybe too much. It's not going to take much, is it? Maybe just a little bit more. Okay. Now this. Probably going to work really, really good, actually. We shall see. I'm going to just really saturate that. Saturate that in there. We know it's held together on the backside with glass. And I don't want a thick layer here because I want this bow to look good, but I also want it to be strong. We literally have not filmed in this shop a video for our channel for months because there's been a lot of crazy things that have happened at Great Plains. A lot of water under the bridge. I went to Europe. We got a huge contract that we're just finished up. And sickness, what have you, we've been completely swamped here. Anyway, I'm going to finish this bow up. I don't even remember where I was at. I can take one look and see what I need to do. This is the Laminated Self-bow, I guess you could call it. And I'm going to pick back up where I left off. But what I did here, I think the last step that I did was I had put this little fiberglass patch over this crack, which it worked beautifully. And that crack should never cause a problem. Anyway, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and unstring this, and we're going to round this over and wrap it with a couple layers of glass, and then just shape it out. And it's probably going to be about the last thing I do to it other than clean it up. It's almost ready to go. So that's what we'll do now. Here's my center right here of the bow unstrung. So we're gonna carefully mark this. We're just gonna come up 2 inches. It doesn't have to be super precise. We just want the leather wrap to be 4.5 inches when we're done for a nice grip. So we want the fiberglass wrap to be about 4 inches so that we're hidden by about 1/4 inch on either side. It's got to be pretty close. So I'm just going to measure 2 inches off of the center on either side. And that would be 4 inches. And now we're just going to round this over pretty carefully. Not going to take a lot off. For sure not right up here. Now we can take more off here because we can build that up, but we just got to be kind of careful here. So let's do that. You know, when I'm doing this, I think I want this handle to finish out a little bit smaller than it originally was. I'm not a fan of the big, gigantic hill-style wedges that are hard to grip. So I'm going to take a little more off than I first thought. So that actually threw me a little bit. I've never actually done this particular thing. So I never know what's going to happen. But As I was grinding this, I was having a lot of thoughts about what I should do here. And so I think this is right. So I'll build this back up. I knew I wanted this a little smaller, so this will come down a little bit, but that's why I had to make this deeper than here. So anyway, so that's what it looks like. We're gonna go ahead and wrap that quick, and it shouldn't take much. All right, here we go, guys. We're gonna wrap this. I'm just gonna use 1-inch glass, that way I can get it nice and tight. Usually we use 3-inch to build it up, so it doesn't take so long. You know what? I need to get a little bit on. I just don't want, I want the adhesion really good on this thing. So I'm gonna just kind of slather it around here before I start. So it's really saturated. Of course, this first piece is really saturated too, but get it down in those deep 40 grit marks. All right, here we go. It should be super easy. And I want to get it pretty tight because that is going to allow me to have a lot of strength and be low profile once I grind it down, so that you can't hardly tell that it's been done. Got it all wrapped up where I want it. The last one, I didn't put much glue on it. It's because I really reefed down on that one. But the layer underneath that is really saturated. So that's why it looks a little bit light. So we're gonna put this in the oven now. Here in an hour or so, we'll get it out and we'll go to shaping. So, all right guys, so here this bow is out of the oven, glued up really nicely. I'm going to rough shape it with 40 grit, and then I'm going to switch my grinder paper over to about 60 or 80 to smooth it up. I glued this piece on bigger than it was originally on the bow, so knowing that I was going to shape it down, so I'm going to shape it down kind of in line there. So I've been standing here trying to figure out what I'm going to do about a shelf. This bow did not have a shelf. It looked like they put a dowel in that for some reason. I don't know if that was just a locator or if that was a hard spot for the arrow to contact. But I think what I'm going to do, I don't really want to cut into this bow because it's an old bow and I don't want to weaken it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to relieve this in here, and I'm going to relieve this, and then I'm just going to put stacked leather here in the grip for the shelf. So sort of relieve it to the high point there. So we're going to do that here. I'm just going to shape this to kind of how I want it to look with the file. It's so weird. Some of these projects are kind of going to throw me because it's just weird. Like I can take one bow, a rework. I've never worked on it before in my life, never touched it. And I know exactly what to do immediately. And I'm just like, oh, that's exactly how it's going to look. And it just flows off of my tools. And then the next one, like this guy, it just kind of, it feels awkward. All of it feels awkward to me. Just the initial shape of this thing, the way it was built, and yeah, just the layup of this bow feels awkward for, sort of gives me a mental block on how to shape this thing and make it look right. I don't know right now. I have no idea how I'm gonna make this bow look. I'm just gonna let my hands do their thing, I guess. I'm gonna see what happens. I really don't know. But I know I want sort of a high spot here. And if I were to get a little framing square, and yeah, that's about what I want. Spot's about right there. It's more in the center of the stave because you don't have a shelf and a place for the webbing of your hand to go. On this one, we're going to put it in the center, the high point. That sucker wants to keep going. I do not know what that is underneath there. Whatever wood this is, it is insanely soft. Really put the green wing into this and take off some material. This is such an unfortunate shape on this bow. The dish grip actually feels pretty good. It is a style, but this is a self-bow, so it is what it is. But what I'm going to do is just round this, because I don't really like this, so. Oh yeah, I'm liking how that looks. Yeah, that's starting to look nice. All right, so I was looking at this. I got it kind of cleaned up and rounded off everywhere, but so this here looks nice and symmetrical here. Where I relieved this shelf, the arrow flight, that doesn't look symmetrical. So I got to take a little off here. Normally you wouldn't have to do that, but because this is sort of a symmetrical bow all the way through everything, I don't want this to look off here. So I'm gonna take a little off of here. You know what? I'm not digging that. I don't like that. This needs to be brought in further. And this needs to be brought in further too. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go over to the grinder. That is exactly what it needed. Something was just bugging the crap out of me. Something was bugging the tar out of me about it. And I couldn't put a finger on it, which is ridiculous. Part of it is because 3 or 4 months ago when I first filmed this bow, I couldn't remember how it looked to begin with. But that's much better. These little flat pieces of junk that I had on there, yeah, this is where it's at. Now we can make it look real good. All right, guys, over here at the tuning tree, I've got the shape that I want. It's looking really nice now. I like how these come into my hand, where before there was a flat spot here that was just, you know, completely useless. So I like it a lot now. All right, we're gonna string it up, see where she's at. We're gonna shoot it. If it breaks, then I guess all this work is for nothing, but definitely put our best foot forward on this one. Now, so we're going to be shooting off this thing. We got to measure the center here. So let's go 30 1/4 and then come in here. Oh, gee, hit it right on. Got lucky. So that's the center of the bow there. So between 7/16 and 1/2 inches of tiller is what we need. So 8 1/16 there. So we got 3/8 tiller now. We need just a little bit more tiller. This is just a little thicker. I'm going to take just a little bit off of this belly here. Whew, stacky, which is to be expected. Okay, that's weird. Did not move it at all. All right, I'm gonna take, I got a lot of glass, so I'm just gonna take a tiny bit of the glass off. All right, I'm shooting with this glove because I don't want to tear my hand up. I'm not the world's best at shooting off my hand. And this gives me confidence, so I'm not thinking about that and I can focus on the bow. Well, that flew perfectly straight. Yeah. I think it's that arrow going across there. I could relieve that some more. If you notice here, that's the fletchings are hitting right there and parts of the arrow. I relieved that a bunch, but if I relieved that more, it would shoot even better. I'll show you what I mean. So, on a self-bow like this, when you have no shelf, when you hold that there, you see what that arrow's doing? It's contacting, but then it's like angled off into no man's land. So the way you get around that and be successful and accurate with a self-bow is you simply cant it. So instead of vertical, you cant it, which brings that arrow into alignment with the center. So, but as I draw, it straightens out. So, see that arrow right there? I'm canting it. As I draw, that arrow slides in perfectly solid against that bow. So there it's pointing way off. As I draw, it comes in and it lies flat against the stave. Obviously the physics of it, as you get further away, your angle changes. However, when this arrow reaches the bottom of the groove, then you're back to this problem again, where it's shooting off an angle. But you can cant that, and that will fix it as far as bringing it into center alignment, but you still have to get the proper spined arrow, which is the case, the way that you can manipulate the paradox and get that arrow to come out of there straight. I'm going to shoot a couple lighter spined arrows now and see what kind of results I get. So that's immediately noticeable better flight, just because the arrow is flexing more from the initial inertia from the string, which is paradoxing and then straightening back out. I don't know if that's the correct word, paradoxing. I think the paradox is the whole situation, but the arrow is flexing more as it goes around the... So these lighter spined arrows, these are a 500 spine, immediately noticeable improvement. Actually, it's shooting very straight with these. So I don't know, I'm tempted just to leave it. I mean, it is a laminated self-bow. This is how they're shot by a large extent. You just manipulate the spine of the arrow to get them to shoot right. And it shoots really, really good with these lighter spine arrows. I think I will leave it just because, leave the bow intact, how it came to me, the integrity of it, not change the shape of it, and it can be shot like a self-bow. Oh wow. Yeah, you can, I mean, I've only been shooting this thing a few minutes here, and I'm already getting to where I can stack them in there just by learning where my cant is, what spine of arrow to use, and I'm hitting center target. Bam, center again. Damn. Dead center. I'm happy. I'm gonna clean it up. It's tillered, it's tuned. We're gonna spray it, put leather on it. All right, so here she is sprayed, and of course we got to get the buckskin on it yet, but looks pretty. And this is where I put the fiberglass on. It looks sort of like, I don't know, it looks like a piece of discoloration on the wood, but it's actually a piece of fiberglass cloth, just in case, just to make sure that that crack doesn't spread. But it's done, and it turned out absolutely beautiful. Originally, I was going to leave this longer, you know, and I had sort of a flat spot, and I was just looking at that. I just did not like that, so went ahead and moved that on up to where it comes to a point there with the handle, and then I dished this just a little bit to give it just a little bit of contour, and it feels great. So there it is, finished up. I guess you could call it a laminated self-bow.